All right. Apparently, we're back, and this is why we do. This is the magic of the internet. Everyone's trying to stream. Everyone's trying to do these live shows, and it doesn't always work. Doesn't always work. So that is that. So we're gonna get back to recording on the podcast side. It'll just be like a commercial break. But here we're gonna check. So hey, welcome to the magic. We got people jumping back into chat. Jumping back in. I gotta drop another. Excuse me. We're just hanging out. I tried to approach. I want everything to be a show. So even though we're in this downtime, I'm trying to entertain you. If you're just watching on YouTube later, I don't know. The other stream's still going. I cannot shut the other stream off. It's hilarious. It's now in its 23rd minute. I'm looking at it right now. Can't shut it off. It just stopped. It's hilarious. I'm just going to let it go. Hey, back up and running. So get back in here with the second half of the show. And we're back. Trying to figure out this technology, this internet. And everything says it's going, and it's not. I don't know. But we're here with all you. Got some questions. We got some good questions. We answered David Cornett's question, Alice Wadsworth's question about me running off to Montana, something me and Mark Riley talk about often. Pete Rich talked about his fan theories question. Now we're going to go to the Hump, Jason Humphreys. Love Jason. Package from the UK. Oh, he sent she snack ones. So we call him around our place. Me and Grace downed him in like 2 days. All of it gone. All right, Jason Humphreys writes, first of all, I want to say I'm glad you're back into stand-up. It's something you're good at. Oh, thanks, Jason. And it was a shame to see your talent wasted. It's no secret that in the past you've had a love-hate relationship with comedy. How are you combating the traditional Napzok personal self-doubts to make it a success this time? Jason, this is a great question. Because here's what happened. I was in D.C. this past weekend, did 2 shows. Thank God there was 2 shows to do. The first show, both at the Comedy Loft, great venue, no problems with the people there. But 7:30 show, I was featuring, I was headlining. I was going to do about 20 minutes, maybe 25. I ended up doing 19 minutes. The reason being, right when my set started. I got a good laugh. I was feeling good. Wrote in with a lot of confidence. I was a little stressed. And that's, Jason, where the old demon started to pour back in, where I didn't feel in control of what I was about to say. I didn't really feel in control of the environment. Then I got on stage, and 2 people in the audience did not understand or did not want to comply with the 2-item minimum rule. So they got into an argument with the staff member there. And there's nothing I can really do other than I can wait. I can try to address it, but it's not like a heckler. It's a staff member. It's a house manager trying to get money, trying to get their business going. 2-item minimum is a very standard thing in comedy. And if you don't know it, that's kind of on you. It also, get a drink. You don't want an alcoholic beverage, get a soda and some chicken tenders. Call it a night. But they started going at it in the middle of my set, and that ruined the rest of my set. Even though it was okay, probably felt okay, got some laughs. Those watching it, I don't feel they were completely cheated, but in my head, that was horrible. I was so upset. And the problem was I started to go back into those old habits, and the self-doubting Napzok stuff came up again. And luckily I had a second show, but I went out to the bar, sat down, bar was empty except for me and the bartenders and some of the staff. And I had some mac and cheese, took a breath, and said, we put it behind you. It wasn't me. I could have controlled it better. I could have done something a little differently, but everyone had a laugh, and I kind of worked through it. And then I came back in the second set, and it was night and day. It was night and day. And that would not have happened 5 years ago, would not have happened 10 years ago when I was doing stand-up comedy. And that was always the difference. I was never fully comfortable, and I would immediately get into my head. And if you're out there trying to do something, you've got something going on, maybe it's creative, maybe you're a young stand-up comic trying it yourself, like Zach Anderson, who's in our chat room here right now, and one of our Patreon supporters here. He's starting comedy. So you're going to get in your head, and you're going to learn it, and you're going to work through, and you're going to fail, you're going to do bad, but you got to get out of your head and trust your instincts, and trust why you're here, and trust that you're going to get better, and trust that there's always the next chance. And that's what I was lucky to have. 2 shows. I'm lucky to have a supportive headliner, and Mark Ellis. And Christian Ruvacalba was there taping both of them, and he was like, "Don't worry, you're fine." It was distraction. Yeah, even in chat, old Handsaw was there, and he's saying, "Yeah, it was kind of distracting for everyone, but you were very professional, and I thought you came back strong." Thank you, old Handsaw. And Tamor says, "Hey, regardless, you were great." Well, Tamor and Abdul, you were there for Abdul's birthday. It was a great time. So I don't feel horrible. I think you got Ellis put on a great show as always, but it was a great lesson for me to see how far I've come. That I did not let that destroy my evening, and I came back strong from that. And Zach in chat right now says that's his biggest concern. Zach is doing stand up, and I've been looking at some he's part of the executive producer tier on Patreon, which means that you get to consult with me over something, and stand up's the thing, and we need to get back on some sessions there, Zach, don't we? But I've seen some of his tapes, and we're going over it, and he says that's the biggest thing he needs to overcome is getting out of his own head. And I think all of us, no matter what you're doing, getting out of your own head, getting out of your own way is something that's very, very hard to do, but it's key to any kind of performance. So that's what we'll do. I think it's hilarious. This other stream is still going on. That's amazing. Question here from Tim Van Nullen. Couple more questions, and then we'll start going to questions live from the audience. So if you're watching live because you're a Patreon supporter, get your questions typed up and ready there, and maybe we'll open up the phone lines here in a bit through the Google Voice number. So we got a question here from Tim. Tim writes, "Hey, Kim. Last Saturday, I bought a car for the first time with my own money. It's a Volkswagen Polo. What was your first car that you bought with your own money? And also, what car accessories or tools do you personally find necessary or useful to have in most cars? Have a great show." Great question, Tim. Great question, Tim. I got to be honest. I don't know if I've ever bought a car with my own money. I think the bank has always been the one to give me the money. But early on, my first car was a 1981 Ford Fairmont, white, crimson red interior, and like a faded brown leather top. Ford Fairmont. Look them up if you're not familiar with the Ford Fairmont. Kind of, sort of like early 80s, late 70s police cars, but not quite. And I used to call it the Millennium Fairmont because that's the kind of life it was, and nerd I was, I should say. And I got it before my junior year in high school, I do believe, or maybe my senior year. I can't remember that. Maybe it was my senior year. I think I had it for the last year. Paid $1,000 for it. And of course, I didn't have that laying around, but my parents helped me. We bought it from literally an old lady. Lived in Pismo Beach, California, at a trailer park that my mom was doing some housekeeping work on at the time. And she couldn't use the car anymore. I needed a car. This seemed like a great example. I don't know. I've always heard to say that, your first car should be one with a lot of, quote, character, so that you could develop character. Like, if you had a kid, you don't want to drop the keys in their hands to like a fancy SUV or a BMW or even just a brand new car. You want them to kind of build some character through a crappy car. But I get their safety concerns. And if I had a child who was 16, 17 years old right now and needed a first car and was driving around, I don't want to buy them a clunker so the car breaks down. But I had a clunker, and it did break down a few times. But it was a great car. No tape deck in it. No tape deck in it. Radio. Tape deck kind of worked. Well, no, tape deck did work, then it stopped working. So, you kind of do the thing where you grab like a little mini boombox or something, put it in the car. Because I bought it from literally an old lady, I made a joke of like, it's an old lady car. So I had an Afghan in the back of the car, in the back windshield, just to be like, yeah, I put some hats in there. That was great. Back trunk was huge. You could put 3 bodies in there. Zach in chat says, what's a tape deck? That's funny, Zach. You should do stand-up comedy. Okay. And I trunks of my car always end up being like part of my garage. It's just a bad habit I have. So this Fairmont, no different. Drove around for a few years. Had it from like 93 until about 96. I bought a 1991 or 94. No, it was a 91 Plymouth Colt, little blue Tic Tac. But I'll tell you, that Fairmont, sorry for the hacking, that Fairmont was quite a car. Now, Tim asks, what car accessories or tools do you find personally necessary or useful to have in most cars? Well, it's a tape deck or any kind of audio. Right now, my my Camry, everything in it stopped working. Kyle Harlow's here. What's up, Kyle? 8-tracks indeed. I'll take an 8-track player. My Camry, everything in the center console has just stopped working. Even some of the lights are out. CD player stopped working. Tape deck stopped working. After the CD player went, I had one of those little connecting little devices where I put a cassette tape with a wire into like my iPhone or my iPod, and that worked great. And then and then that stopped working. But the radio works, and that's all I need. That's all I need. So that's the accessory I need. I'm not a big car person. Don't have the fancy cars. Don't do all that. So I just need the bare minimum. But Tim, I love that story. A Volkswagen Polo. Good car. Brendan Truitt says, "Hi, Ken. Huge fan, and it was a pleasure to meet you in DC. You seem to be constantly working on a dozen different projects for ForceCenter, Jedi Council, baseball column, stand-up, Schmodown, etc. If just one of them would provide everything you need financially, would there be just one that you could see yourself doing for the foreseeable future? Thanks, and have a great show." It's a great question. I'm one of those freelancer types. I'm one of those hardworking types. I always like to be working. I always feel like I need to be working. So passion. It's not a moneymaker too much. Myself, my general overall brand, which is, I hate to use that term, that generates some funds through Patreon and a little bit of advertising for the Napzok files. But obviously, I can't live off that. So if that happened, I think I would consider that. I do love working though, and it's hard to say no. When the baseball column with Flag Sports that came up, I did say no for a night, and then I thought, nah, we should do it. I was all set to leave Jedi Council a long time ago, months ago. I was set to leave Jedi Council. And then the future kind of changed for the show, and I said, let's stick around. Stand-up was long gone. Showdown, something that's just on the side. That could easily go. But ForceCenter, something, me, Joseph, and Jennifer, we're not done talking about Star Wars. So it's one of those things. I think until you get that opportunity to say, I got to go, I can cut everything else out. Maybe you do. Now, here's the thing. I'm starting a project soon that's going to keep me really, really busy from now until February. And it might cause me to make a cut or two, or at least cut back on things. My motivations with Ken show on YouTube, something I still want to do. I have the set ready to go. I kind of had cut that down. You have to kind of choose. Only so many hours in the day. I'm often up at 8 a.m. and done working at 11 p.m. on some days, on most days. Today's a little bit different, but I already feel behind. I'm choosing to slow down today. I'm already behind. Went to Washington, D.C. today for stand-up comedy, or this weekend for stand-up comedy, came back already behind. So that's the problem. So even though I say no, I'd like to just go full bore all the time. If one of those things hit and I could step aside from other things, I might do it. I don't have fears with that. I have the ability to walk away from things. I have before. One thing like Schmo's News, doing the movie news. When that Collider Live show started a couple years ago, it was on the table for me to come back every day and do the news, and I said absolutely not, and didn't look back and felt good about that. So I can walk away. So Brendan, great question. Maybe one day I'll find out. Alice says whiskey with honey and lemon, Ken. Alice, I've tried that. I've tried teas. I've tried NyQuil, DayQuil. Moose and X. And it was just getting good. On the flight back from DC, I felt really good. And then I caught something. And that's where we're at. Oh, it's the best. Not really. Final pre-selected question. Then we'll go to some live questions here. Andy Ortiz. Andy says, hey, Ken, if you're to run for office in the government, what would your campaign song be? Mine would be Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. That's a good one. Beautiful Day by U2 would be a good one. I did think about this, though. Tamor says, if whiskey and honey doesn't work, try Jack Honey with lemon. That might work, too. I'll try that. If I was going to run for office, the song I'd sing, it's a song about immigrants. It's a song about a great future. It's from a movie, 1980's The Jazz Singer. It peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and topped the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart for 3 weeks in June of 1981. It was also Neil Diamond's 6th number 1 adult contemporary hit song. That's right. If I was to run for office, you would hear the song, They're Coming to America, Never Looking Back Again. They're coming to America. That's the song I'd be campaigning to. Everywhere around the world, they're coming to America. I just think that's a great inspirational song. My father came over with my grandparents, my aunt, my uncle. They came over in 51. I believe in the power of immigrants coming to this country to chase the ideals of this great country, which I believe was great, is great, and is always great despite bruises, despite stumbles, despite obstacles. I love it. So that if you would vote for me today, I'll put a Coke machine in the quad. I will lower gas prices. I will give Band-Aids to everybody. And then also behind me, you hear, far, we've been traveling far. Yeah. No? What do you guys think? What does the live chat think about that? Pete Rich says, love when Ken sings. Really. Jason Humphrey says, great choice. I saw Neil Diamond a few years ago when he came to Manchester. Wow, Neil Diamond in Manchester, home of Oasis. I would love to see Neil Diamond singing some Oasis songs. Today is gonna be the day. Love that. Listen up. All right, we'll stop. They're coming to America. Neil Diamond's the best. I love Neil Diamond. Napzok Makuga 2020. Zach Anderson says that. Kyle Harlow says Napzok 2020. I don't think that would work. I don't know. I just, on the topic of Neil Diamond, I used to not like Neil Diamond. I used to make fun of Neil Diamond. The Hot August Nights album, sequence shirt. I don't know. I just was, come on. And then at some point, it just clicked in. Neil Diamond is the greatest person in the world. He's the greatest singer in the world. Great songwriter. And his albums in 2005, he had his album, what was it, 12 songs? 14 songs? It was something, one of those albums. Paul Westerberg has his album, 14 songs. I think Neil Diamond's was 12 songs or something. I don't know. It's one he did with like Rick Rubin. And it is, it's the best. I love it. I just love it. It was my favorite album that year, which is why I knew I had to stop writing about music for mixtapes.com. Neil Diamond, man. I think you can win some elections with Neil Diamond in your corner. I have to get his blessing, though. So what are some of the campaign songs for anyone live in the chat room that they would run to? Zach Anderson says he'd do a yacht rock in every bar. Sing that to Neil Diamond's. Yacht rock in every bar and every school. They're singing to yacht rock today. So I'll wait for some of your choices there as we get going to the next phase of the show as I hack my way through it. So thanks for all sticking with me today. It's been a busy time. I missed the main show for the first time in a while, missed the main episode of Napzok Files. And we might be going down to one broadcast for a while, at least through February, while I deal with this new project on my plate. That's real exciting. Can't talk to you all about it yet, but it's going to keep me busy, and it's a good thing. I'm excited about it. So with that said, I will open up the Google Voice, excuse me, the Google Voice message system. Those who have access to the number have access to the number. How do you get access to the number? Well, you join my Patreon page, and at the $10 tier or higher, you get the phone number to call on in live to the show. Alice in chat swore up and down she was going to call. She said she was going to call. Right? Chat, support me on this. Kyle Harlow from the Iowa, Chicago, Midwest area says, I did it all for the Nookie by Limp Bizkit. Is that the name of the song? He said would kill his campaign, but it'll be fun. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of truth in advertising, right? If you're running for office, you just say, hey, I'm here, but I did it all. Right? I think that's fair. Oh, we got a call coming in. Here we go. We got a call, and I know who this is. This is Tamor.
Hey, Ken, how you doing?
I'm good, Tamor. You're in live. What's on your mind, my friend?
So, with the recent release of the Mandalorian, which I underestimated how much I would enjoy, I wanted to ask you, who would you rather be? A Jedi, a Sith Lord, or a Mandalorian?
Okay, this is
if you were into Star Wars world.
This is a great question, and we're gonna avoid spoilers as best we can for the people who have not watched as best we can for the people who have not watched The Mandalorian yet, especially our UK friends. But Tamor, I think this is a great question. Sith, Jedi, or Mandalorian? At this point, I think I'd go Mandalorian. You get cool armor.
Yeah.
You usually get a cool ship. I like Mandalore.
Oh yeah.
You know, Duchess Satine.
Oh yeah.
She seemed pretty cool. Bo-Katan seemed pretty cool. Sabine Wren seemed pretty cool. You know, so I think I'd like to hang out with them. Sith, nah. You know, that's a lot of. You gotta. That's stressful having to worry who's gonna kill you over your shoulder. And Jedi. Look, let's be honest. Jedi cut out some things. They make some cool things in life forbid. So I don't know if I'd join the Jedi, though. I would like to just wear. I'd like to wear the same robe every day. That's kind of a good fashion thing. We go. So
and especially like I actually like Abdul, my brother. He teased me like the kind of like the lore that I've been missing out on.
Oh yeah.
And like finishing up season 5 of Clone Wars, like I saw Pre Vizsla and like how Maul took over. Spoilers for everyone who hasn't seen this yet, but like how he took over Mandalore, and it's just like how everyone says in the Mandalorian, like you'll make short work of it. So like, and I saw that. Like in the Clone Wars, so it's just like
there you go.
Seeing that and then like kind of like connecting it to the Mandalorian, I'm like, that's what I want to be. Like it's like one of the things that I wanted. Like up until now, I wasn't really sure on which part of the Star Wars. I love Star Wars altogether, but when I saw the Mandalorian, I was like, that's my Star Wars. Boom, there.
You go.
Boom.
Well, that is great. That is what we like to hear, Tamor. We love people loving Star Wars and love that you're connecting to that show. We got to get an update though. Your brother Abdul turned 26, and you took him to Washington D.C. to see some comedy.
Yep.
How did the weekend go? How did Abdul enjoy his weekend?
It was great. It was great. We enjoyed it very much. We were hoping to get some time with you, but there was this guy who was talking to you at the bar, and we were like looking at him very curiously. And it turned out who is this guy? Who is this guy Ken's talking to? It turned out to be your cousin. So like, all right, we'll let it go. Well, next time we meet our cousin, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, we'll catch up. Yeah, it was my cousin Chris I hadn't seen in a long time, and it was great to catch up with him.
Great dude.
So yeah, we will catch up for sure, and please give my regards to the birthday boy, belated birthday. But please tell Abdul we all are happy for him.
Will do.
All right. Tamor's out, which means the phone lines are open for Alice if she wants to do the call. Let's see if she wants to do. Let's see who's on the line here right now. They're coming in live to TNF In Session. Who we have here?
It's me.
It's Alice. This is a big day. This is a big day, Lapsock Files listeners, because Alice has said she was going to call. She said she's so nervous. And Alice, there's no need to be nervous. You are among friends. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. I just wanted to call in because I said I'd try.
You did. See? But see, Alice, look at this. You have faced a fear. You have faced a fear. You did not want to call in live and have everyone hear you, but you have, and everything's working out fine. So if you conquered this, what could you conquer tomorrow? You know?
Yeah.
you don't sound convinced. You don't sound convinced. But I'll tell you what, Alice, what question do you have? You had a great question about me and Montana. Do I ever want to run away to Montana? Do you have another question for us here live on TNF In Session?
Well, you know what? You know why I want to run away to Montana?
What?
I'm so excited about Star Wars, and all these idiot people out there just give me crap for it.
So you want to run to Montana so you can enjoy Star Wars in peace.
Exactly.
That is a great way to look at it, and I think one day maybe if the Napzok Files gets big enough, we'll open up the Napzok Files out in Montana, and we can all go out there, hang out there, watch Star Wars. Tamor and Abdul can come out there. Tamor's going to build it. He told me he would, and we'll get it going. So I like that, Alice. I think that's a good plan. All right, Alice.
I love all of y'all.
We love you too. You did it, Alice. Give yourself a high five. We'll you're gonna call back again next time. I swear it. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. All right. Bye, Alice.
Bye.
All right. Alice did it. She called in. She's been listening here for a while and got over a fear there. That's big. That's a big accomplishment. So I got time here for another call if anyone's got it, or we got questions in the live chat. Andrew, I know you wanted to ask some questions there. Go right ahead if you want to post one in the live chat. Otherwise, for those in the Patreon page, I put the prompts up usually a day or two before the event. Tamor posted one after. I just saw that there, but and he got the call in and he got to ask it there. So in chat, they're all celebrating Alice making that phone call. Kyle Harlow says, if you build one, we'll come. That's the Napzok Files retirement community. Everyone cheering on Alice. Tamor leading a round of applause for Alice. That's important. It's a good thing. Public speaking isn't easy. And we've been peer pressuring Alice into tackling that fear, and she did it today. So I'm starting to round up shop there, unless I got any live questions here. Oh, hey, here we go. Andrew Hale asks, what is your next stand-up show and how you're feeling about it so far? Overall, with stand-up, pretty good. I need to be doing more, but there's just only so many hours in the day. Getting booked in LA is both time-consuming and somewhat difficult at times. I got to get back into the circuit. I used to get booked all the time, but then I stopped doing stand-up for 5 years or so. So now I'm not in the circuit. So I got to get back into that. My next stand-up show is not scheduled, but Ellis and I are talking about some dates in 2020, and hopefully we'll come to an area near all of you so you can see us perform. So and Mark's he's got to build up a new act. He released that special that usually signifies in a comics career that round of material is done, and you got to start building something new. So that's going to be fun watching Mark build his next special, because that will happen. Kyle Harlow asked, have you talked about your favorite Thanksgiving food yet? No, it is mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes, extra gravy, some butter, put some onions on there, little chopped little chives, onions and chives. Turkey, yeah, love turkey. Stuffing, great. Cranberries, great. Some veggies, great. Mashed potatoes. I could have a plate of mashed potatoes. You could literally just serve up a giant plate of mashed potatoes, and I would be happy. I might have that. Yeah, I might have that tonight. I'm going to go out and get some. Pete Rich says, Mark talked about the day on Collider Live with Roxy and Dorina. He's got about 30 minutes of new material. Yeah, I've heard some of Mark's new stuff, and it's really good. There's some stuff I really, really like. You heard some of it in DC if you were there. I like it. He's going to get there, and I can't wait. That's the cool thing is he's going to get there. and have a new hour worth of material. So that's that. So Andrea Hale asked, what's the most recent movie I watched? Rogue One. As far as new movies, the most recent new movie I've watched, I think I saw 2 movies this year. Can't remember. Wait, no, I saw that. No, I didn't see that. No. What about that? Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, I can't remember. I don't watch movies, folks. I just don't. I want to. I'm going to go see Knives Out. That's about it. I've been to some screenings. I saw Captain Marvel. Saw Avengers End of the Line. I saw no, so that was last year. I saw Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home on the plane with no sound and me sleeping through the middle of it. Does that count? I'll work on this. I'll work on it, Andrew. I'll work on it. All right. With that said, I am going to go cough up a lung and get on out of here. I want to thank everyone here in the Tnf In Session live chat. And I want to thank all of you listening later on and those who try to watch on YouTube and the video. I think that live stream, the first one, still just going. The first part of the show is still going. I'm going to go pour some whiskey into my NyQuil and make it happen. This has been the Napzok Files in session. If you want to support and join the Patreon page, go to patreon.com/KenNapzok. You can follow me at KenNapzok. Go to KenNapzok.com for information, including where you want to buy the collector cards. You can buy them through there. You can buy copies, signed copies of the book, as I said, or book plates where I'll sign and send some stickers to you so you can put it on the inside of your book. That's there. And stay tuned for the next announcement on a stand-up comedy show. Maybe I'll see some of you live in the audience December 7th at the movie Trivia Schmodown Spectacular, the 3rd edition, I do believe. So that is it. Don't get sick, kids. Don't get sick. Bye.